Okay, in the hook6.js, we have to read the data from other source. Hello? Hello. Yes, madam. Okay, no problem. We have, but we'll call you somewhere 9:30. We'll call you back by 9:30. Counselor will call you and she will guide you. Okay. Okay, so this API file will be responsible to get the data from other source. Other source first will try one to read from the public folder. Public folder that we have made yesterday. Item.json file. Hope you have this file. The item.json file have some list of items in the form of JSON. Now this item.json file through the JavaScript fetch function that people use mostly in the React. Using JavaScript fetch function, we can read the data from there and will give to the component, and component will display inside the page. Okay, so let us see how that works. Come to the hook6.js file. Under the hook6.js file, we have to create a state variable where we can store the data. So we can write here called item list, and we can write a function for that. Update item equal to state which is array by default. Okay, next after that, when we come down, x5 total items inside array, total items inside array, your array dot length, that is called item list dot length. It will display us total how many items are exist inside our array. Now after doing that, now let's write a function. That function will be responsible to bring the data from other source. Okay, which function? A const code where from just now we have written. It's here. So we'll have another constant called get item. Get item function will be responsible to bring the data from other source. How it will work? Let's write here. First keep a alert here. Working. After that, we will create a button here. click to see item list. Close the button. Click to see the item list. Now on that click, you will call the function that is called get item. Okay, hope written. Now you can run the page and click on button. See alert is coming or not. Hook 6 we have added in app file. Hook 6 we have not added yesterday. Yes, hook 6 we have not imported. We need to import that link under the routing. And after that we can go to the app.js file. My hook6.js file. Six you can give. Hook 6. Six we added.
That is very mild.
Sir, import has a 6.js. Can you change that? Yeah.
Hook 6 it should be. Okay, so component is loading and button click, you are getting the alert. Right, come now do the hook 6. For this button, I will apply a class here, class name from the bootstrap, so that it will look little more better. btn hyphen primary m hyphen 3. btn primary m hyphen 3. Next, after that, we'll go to this function, get item function, and we will use the fetch function, fetch method, to bring the data from that item.json file. Fetch function will say, give me the URL from where you want to bring the data. Okay, fetch function will say, give me the URL from where you want to bring the data. So we can go here and we can use the file name that you have created in public folder. That is called item. Mine is my item. My item.json. What is your file name in public folder you have created yesterday? That file name you can use. Okay. My item.json. My item.json. Okay, next after that dot, then response. After the response, we will write response.json. I will guide you each and every word what is happening here. Let's first get the data. Again apply the then function and then write as a item array. Next after that again fat arrow and write here alert. Item array dot length. Let me know, are you getting the alert? Then I will guide you fetch function how it is sending the request, and from there how the response are coming. Button click, you should get the alert. Now button click alert is coming. How the data flow happen here? How the fetch function is working? What is the meaning of then function here? Okay, so let's understand that point. Fetch function. Fetch function is a JavaScript API function. Using that, we send a request to backend. Fetch function is a JavaScript API function. Using that, we send a request to backend. Okay. Using fetch function, we send a request to backend. So now, instead of backend, we are given a JSON URL directly that is available in our current folder. So fetch function will look into the particular file. Now, when the fetch function will send a request to the particular file will respond to you something. After sending a request, some response will come from there. Like same like if you say hi, then someone will reply from there called hello. If someone is exist, right? Fetch function will send a request to the myitem.json. If myitem.json is exist under the current folder, if the myitem.json is exist in current folder, from myitem some response will come. Now understanding this way. When we say hi, we speak through the mouth. When we say hi, we speak through the mouth. So what will happen? Mouth will say hi, means request is going somewhere. Something is being out. After that, someone will listen the word hi. He will reply back call hello or anything. Whatever he will reply, he will reply. Okay, he will reply something. Now mouth was responsible to send a request and ear will be responsible to capture the response. Mouth will not capture the response. Ear is responsible to capture the response. Whichever the reply will come from that side, mouth is not going to capture. Ear is responsible to capture that. Okay. After capturing that, ear will go for the processing. After processing, it will generate a particular sense. And then the particular, again, the next sentence will come out from the mouth. That is in our day-to-day life we face. Fetch function, what it says? Fetch function says like, I can send a request to anywhere, wherever you want, I can send a request. You mention the URL and after that, let me know. I will send the request to anywhere, wherever you want. After sending the request, from other end, whichever the response will come, I cannot capture that because I have no such feature to capture the response. I have a feature to send the request. Yes, I can apply other function to capture the response. Who will say? Fetch function will say. Fetch function will say, I can send a request, but response will come, I cannot capture that. Yes, I have a link function. Those function I can apply and I can capture the response. I will ask them to capture the response. So what is happening here? Fetch function will send the request. And after that, as soon as the fetch function will send the request, then let me write. Your code is okay. Let it be. I am modifying again just to get some idea. So fetch function has send a request. After that, dot then. Okay, you can see. Once I type as a then, it is showing as a method. You can see here, it's saying as a method. It shows here as a method. And what type of method? Promise method. And inside the promise method, what it will capture? It will capture the response. So then is a promise function. Then is a promise function. What is the responsible of then function? The responsibility of the then function is to capture the response. After the sending the request by the request method fetch function, whichever the response will come from there, it will get captured by a promise function, and the promise function is called as a then function. Okay. Next, after that, what will happen is, let me write here a function called my response. is a variable, can be anything. My response. So this response, what you are capturing here, it is not the actual data. Somewhere it is encoded data, encrypted data, because the communication is happening between client to server. So you can say it's encrypted data, not the actual data. Now you have to convert that data, since it is coming in the JSON format. So you have to convert the data into object array. Okay, you have to convert the data into the object array or JSON object, you can say. So how to convert that? Okay, so it says like dot then response. Okay, dot then response. Now response we are going to convert into JSON object or JSON array, both you can say. Response dot is called my response dot JSON. If the data come from the backend in the JSON format, you will use here dot .json. If the data come from the backend in the text format, HTML format, you will use as a text dot text. There is a two function. One function is called as a dot .json. One function is called as a dot .json. One function is called as a dot .json. Dot .json function will be responsible to convert the JSON into JSON array or JSON object. After converting into JSON or JSON object, you cannot run the loop directly. You have to apply again then function to give you the actual array. To give you the actual array. So for that, second then function will come, and the second function will be ready to give the final array of the backend. So you can use here again any variable. Suppose I am using called item array. Item array. Now this item array is the actual array that has come from that file. Then depend on our requirement further, we can run the loop here, we can run an alert, or we can give to a state. So instead of giving to the run, looping and anything, we have to check here first whether this item array, right? We have sent a request to the backend. The backend has sent you some data. Is that empty or is there any element? So we will check here item array dot length greater than 0, greater than 0. So what is it represent? It represents like yes, the response has come from the backend. In that response, is it empty response or some data is also there? If data is there, then only you can call this function item array, and not item array, update item, and inside you can pass as a item array, you can pass here. Item array you can pass here. Now, as soon as you click on button, the length will get increased. You can check once. Save the file, run once. Here what we are doing, at this place I'll write a line. If item exists, then send it to state. Send it to state. If item exists, then send it to state. So ready, save the file, come to browser and click on button. Once you click here, the length will get increased. If you click here, the length will get increased. Check now, length is increasing. Now that if the length is increasing, we can run a for loop below and we can print the list of elements. So for that, 12 you have, this is fine. So what we'll do is 12 you ignore, come down, create another column after that, a division, class name, call LG3. Inside the call LG3, I can add this. So that 3-4 API we can call here and we can understand multi-type of array. 3 I will convert into 4. Okay, now after this, we will use a map function, item list dot map. Item name will come here, index. Return a paragraph item names will come here. This should be as a index here. Okay, okay, wrote it. Save now. Go to other component or maybe reload your page. You will see item is 0. Once you click here, list will appear. Once you click on that, the list will appear here. This is coming from that JSON file, item.json file. And Fetch function is bringing the data. Okay, so for 1% data is coming. Let's write some more there. Create one more call LG4 to bring the data from other source, not from the direct from your JSON file, from other server. Okay, so we can write here user list. User list. Try that. It's important for the UI developer. Without fetch function, you can't survive. Fetch function is the heart of your React to send the data and receive the data. Every time people use the fetch function. Okay, then I'll move ahead. Next, we can write another function here. Const call user list. User list. Update user equal to user state Okay, next write a function called get user. Same way, we can write here get user function. Get user function will bring the data from other source. I will give that URL. Next, my response.json user array user user array dot length greater than 0, then update user function you can call here, and inside you can pass user array. Okay. Next, in this array, data is going to come from other server. Let me give the URL where the data will come from. The data will come from this source. It is the URL that is a open URL available on internet. Anyone can call this, and whoever will call will get data in the form of JSON. So I have shared the link in your chat. You can use that. Same link you can keep here. Okay, hope you added this. Now this URL I will open in the browser and show you what data is going to come from there. If you open this URL directly, you open the URL. This looks like this. You can see huge data in the form of JSON object. Right. Now this data we will be giving to this URL will give to the fetch function. Fetch function will look at that URL, and after that fetch function will capture all the data from this URL, and after that it will convert into array, and then array will go to the where update user, and from update user it will come to the user list automatically. But question is how to call this function? How to call this function? On button click. Already you saw one example here how to call a function on button click. It's happening. Now we will call the get user function on page load. Get user function will call on page load. We have a feature here, a function called use effect. Let's come down. Right here, use effect. Use effect is little different function. It get called automatically on load. Keep a alert here called high. you will find as soon as your page will load, automatically this use effect will get called. It's called as a life cycle function. It is called as a life cycle function. It is called as life cycle function. Let us come in the browser. See here what will happen. You saw the alert automatically. If I go to some other component and come back, we can see the alert will come automatically. Suppose I went to the 4. Again, once I'll come back to the 5, alert will come automatically high. Means use effect is calling automatically. You went here, came back, alert came automatically. It's called a use effect. Okay. Next, after that, under the use effect, we can call this function directly because use effect is calling automatically. It's a life cycle function of your React functional component. Now, under the use effect, we will call this function called get user. Under the use effect, we call the get user function. So use effect will execute automatically. And once the use effect will execute automatically, then once the use effect will execute automatically, then along with the use effect, our get user function will call automatically. But the problem will be here, use effect is calling automatically, and inside that you are going to call the get user function. We have to limit now how many times the use effect has to call. Else, once we'll give the backend URL, the use effect will go under the infinite and it will call unlimited times and your backend will get stuck. It will hit unlimited times to the backend. When you are calling use effect, you are calling get user function. When you call the get user function, what will happen? It will hit to the URL, and if you hit continuous to the URL, backend will get stopped. Bandwidth will get increased. Server will be completely busy. So we have an option here. We can go here and under the use effect within the square bracket, we can pass as a 1. Usually it should be true, but we pass as a 1. 1 also you can write and true also you can write. This is for what purpose? So that it should call only one time. It should not call many times. It should call only one time. Okay, hope written use effect. Now come down. We have the array called user list. Under the H5 here, we can print the user list dot length. User list dot length. Okay, hope written. Now come to the browser. See on page load, can you see how many happen? Automatically 10 came. So when I go to the other component, suppose I went to the component number 4, again I'll come back. You can see here, automatically length is coming how many? 10. Because as soon as the page will load, that function will call. Once the function will call, it will get the length and display here. Now we'll go inside the page. If your length is coming or not. Right here, user list dot map, user comma index, user list dot length, user comma index. Hope written user list dot length. Now let's write here for return. So what to print here now? Look at here inside the array. Here what are the details are coming? ID, name, username, email, address, street, suit, city, jeep. So many things are coming. We will print only name as of now. Okay, we'll print only name. Again, this API URL will implement further, but today we'll print only name. So go here. You can write here RETU, RN return, and under the return, you can write here in a paragraph user dot name, user dot name, user dot name. Put here key equal to index, key equal to index, user dot name, key equal to index. User dot name. After that, key as a index. Check now. Once the page will load, automatically on page load, you will find a list of 10 users will appear. List of 10 users will appear. Okay, okay, written. Check now. On page load, are you able to see the 10 users? On page load, it should display the 10 records. Button click, it will display the 8 record in the left side. Now one URL I will give you now. Get the details from there and display there. Which one? Okay, take this URL, write one more function and display that in the one more for. You have to create one more for. So I have sent you the URL. In that URL, what is that? I will guide you. Total car. It should come here called car list. Car list 0 by default. The URL I have given you. Please open that URL. Please open that URL. After opening the URL, okay, after opening the URL, you can see here, this is the data. In this, you are going to print model, MODEL, model. In that, print the model. So you got the URL. You can see here. In that, the model is car. We want you to write a function, read the data from there, and display here the name of the model of the car in the last four. So I can help till here. I can write one more function, const car list update car user state empty array, const get car now this get car function we can call here so that autocomplete will happen. Now write this portion, change the URL, get the data and display the model inside the page. Hope you can do it quickly. Working for one person.
Okay, then we'll see you tomorrow. We'll end here only.